The Jock and Nerd Podcast.
Hey, listener, how's it going? Thanks for pressing play, and welcome to this special bonus mini episode of the Jock and Nerd Podcast, where we give you comic book and superhero TV and movie news, reviews, and whatever we choose. Jock and Nerd! Now, if you're a regular listener of the show, you've no doubt heard our full spoiler Avengers Endgame review. Geek boner. And if you haven't, what are you doing? Just scroll back. Episode 271. You can find it at jockandnerd.com/271. We had a great time reviewing this movie, and now it's time for some other voices and thoughts. Many of these voices with accents, people, because this is our second annual hashtag Infinite Podern Family review swap, which is a collaborative effort with a bunch of independent, awesome, geeky podcasts. This is the second time we've been part of this amazing cross-promotion idea, spearheaded by our buddy, David Malofsky, editor and cape of A Place to Hang Your Cape. David's a great guy. He's been a friend of the show and a listener since the very beginning, always coming up with great promotional ideas. The man does a lot to support independent content creators, comic book artists, and the like. So what you're going to hear are a series of 2-minute spoiler-free reviews of Avengers Endgame from the following people. We're going to start with Mr. David Malofsky himself, and then you're going to hear from the Deleted Scene podcast, the Electric Shadows podcast, Mighty Marvel Mix podcast, and Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape, and Cape Swoosh Productions, featuring the Ginger Geek himself, Matt Delhauer. Here it is. Talking Nerd.
Hi, everyone. This is David Malofsky of A Place to Hang Our Cape, the brain behind this hashtag Infinite Podern Family that we've brought together for a second year to review Avengers Endgame. You can find more thoughts from myself and all of the crew at A Place to Hang Your Cape over at ap2hyc.com/endgame. You'll see reviews of the film, articles exploring a bit more about what happened, and also our full podcast there. So I just want to make sure I got that out there. Personally, I loved Endgame. I laughed, I cried, I peed a little. I thought it was one of the best of the MCU movies. I'm actually having to really rethink my ranking of the films. And speaking of which, we are at A Place in Your Cape also running a full survey ranking all 22 MCU films. So there'll be a link to that you can find as well. So like I said, I really love the film. I think it was a great send-off to the OG Avengers. I think that, it had everything I really wanted from the film was there. Lots of fun cameos and callbacks to the previous films. My one real complaint was that there was a trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home right before. And I almost wish that this was actually the very end of the MCU, but I understand why it isn't. But at the very least, I do think this should be the last Avengers movie in the MCU, and you'll have to read my article at ap2hyc.com/endgame to find out exactly why I think this should be the last Avengers movie and how the MCU can continue. All right. Hashtag Infinite Podern Family.
Talking Nerd.
Hey, we're the Deleted Scene podcast. I'm Christian.
I'm Kaylee.
Oh, I'm Matt.
And I'm Mel. Woo!
And we're here with the...
We're in the Endgame now.
We're in the Endgame now.
Good Lord.
With our mini review for our collaborative effort with the Infinite Podern Family for our Endgame, and we loved it. Well, we really liked it, at least.
It's in no spoilers, isn't it?
No spoilers.
No spoilers. Mini review.
No, loads of spoilers. See all of the spoilers. Oh my god, I can't believe that, and everything else is bleeped out.
If I had to give it a number, I would say I loved it 3,000. Here we go again.
Out of what?
Oh god. Matthew. The end.
It's as much as the first Infinity War was about action, this one's about character, and so yes, that's why I prefer this one.
That's a good summing up of it, and I preferred this to Infinity War as well.
And I love both.
Kayla's both. Kayla gets the best of both worlds.
Exactly. I'm just Marvel fanatic number one.
Yeah. What about you, Mel?
I spent the whole of this film going, yes!
And then crying.
That's it. And then weeping quietly.
It's a feel-good film. So yeah, no, it's a fantastic culmination and celebration of the Marvel Universe. And if you're into the Marvel Universe, as us nerds are, you will not be disappointed. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it really signs
ending.
off all these characters and everything, and we look forward to futures new.
Please find us.
Yeah, find us.
Our review of this is going to be out soon.
Our full spoiler review.
Just search for the Deleted Scene podcast on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram,
But yeah, the Deleted Scene podcast on wherever the hell we are.
Yeah.
Whatever the hell you're listening to podcasts on.
You'll find us.
And much love to all the other podcasts on this network.
Yeah.
And thank you to David for organising this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.
Talking Nerd.
Hey guys, we're the Electric Shadows podcast. I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And yeah, just to talk very quickly about Avengers Endgame. I think it's a sign of the film's huge success that I actually never want to see another Marvel movie. I just think it wraps up everything so neatly. It's so sprawling and epic, and yet manages to provide the payoffs to so many character arcs and callbacks to 22 films over 10 years, and there are scenes in there that feel like the definitive version of anything I'd want to see from a Marvel film. That I'm just kind of like, whoa, okay, obviously it needs to go on, but kind of why? If they were to say, unfortunately we lost the footage to Spider-Man Far From Home and we need to take some time and retool, I'd be perfectly fine with not seeing another one of these. I think it's dazzlingly ambitious, and apart from one, I think, fairly major misstep, don't really have that much negative to say about it.
And we're not going to talk about the misstep, of course, but if you listen to the Electric Shadows podcast on the Avengers episode, you will hear us talk about it in the spoiler section. I like to wind Rob up by saying that Ant-Man and the Wasp is a better film than Infinity War, which I think is true. But I think that Endgame is a better film than Ant-Man and the Wasp, and it is genuinely, I think, a really good movie. There's a lot of things in here that I think were perfect in the way they were done. I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with Rob on this. If this was the end film in an 11-year franchise, I'd say, yeah, well done. You stuck the landing. It was really great, and all I want to do now is watch it again, and then again, and that would be good. So
luckily we're getting the chance to do that on Monday. So yeah, guys, if you kind of enjoyed our very little bit here, tune into the Electric Shadows podcast, where we discuss such things as what we think might be a fairly major plot hole in Endgame, not to spoil it here, and why we think it and Infinity War, they got the names the wrong way round.
Yes, that's actually a very good point that Rob makes, so please listen to that. Thank you for listening to us here, and
back to you guys at a place to hang your cape.
And go and see Endgame.
Talking Nerd.
Welcome, true believers. We are the Mighty Marvel Mix podcast. I am Paul Shearman, and he is Alex AJ Jones. Alex, how are you?
I'm very well, thanks.
Good. Right, AJ, we're going to do a totally spoiler-free review for Avengers Endgame as part of the Infinite Pod and Family broadcast. So, tell me about Avengers Endgame.
So, it was incredible. Absolutely loved it. It was full of action. The emotional sort of weight behind it was incredible, and the direction that the Marvel Universe is going in now is so exciting, and I can't wait to see where they go with it.
I agree, and I've got to say, in terms of what we were promised payoff to the culmination of 11 years and 22 movies for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and we got that without any shadow of a doubt. It's
100%.
It's exceptional, and if you are a movie fan, and if you are a Marvel Cinematic Universe movie, and if you are a comic book fan, I've got to say, this is just perfect. Would you not agree?
It's marvelous. It literally is marvelous.
It is marvelous. You're right.
Throw it in there. Yeah, there's no. I couldn't put a fault. I couldn't put a fault to it. It is the perfect way to create a film. It's amazing.
Perfect summary. So that is our spoiler-free review as part of the Infinite Pod and Family. We will be going all in on a spoiler review in our upcoming episode. You can find us with a Mighty Marvel Mix. You can find us on all the places you get your podcasts. If you go to Facebook and Instagram, we are the Mighty Marvel Mix there. And you can find us on Twitter at Marvel Mix. AJ, as always, it's been a pleasure.
As always.
Thanks very much. Everyone else, if you haven't seen Endgame yet, go and see it. You'll love it. If you have seen it, Hope you enjoyed our little snapshot, and we hope to see you on the Mighty Marvel Mix podcast. Thanks very much.
Talking Nerd!
Hello, Pod and family! It's Scott James Merridew here, the host of Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape. So we're finally here, Avengers Endgame, and I promise I'm not gonna do a big freak out like I did last time with Avengers Infinity War. I'm going to be calm, cool, and collected when I deliver my frank analysis of this movie, which is this. It was amazing! No, I swore I wouldn't do this. Stop it, Scott. Stop it. I'm calm now. It's okay. In all seriousness, this is an excellent movie. It is a brilliant send-off to the Infinity Saga and a fond farewell to so many characters that we'd so loved. No, keep it together. It's okay. It's been a long road getting here, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but, you know, what a ride, what a fantastic ride. Oh, God. Highlights for me included, well, okay, the entire movie was a highlight, to be perfectly honest. This is the most satisfying movie I have seen in a while, and I keep thinking, is this what happiness is? Is this it? Finally, so many years of mediocrity and disappointment, and this is my reward at the end of it all. This is what I get. Well, I hope you enjoyed the movie too, Pod and family, and be sure to check out Podcapers, the official podcast of A Place to Hang Your Cape, available on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, Spotify, and of course, A Place to Hang Your Cape. Cue the music!
Nerd.
Hey, everybody from the internet. I've got less than 2 minutes to try and review Avengers Endgame with my buddy Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy.
From Cape Swoosh Productions and the Cape Swoosh Podcast. So, ready? 3, 2, 1, here we go.
Go watch the movie.
Yeah, that's about it. There is no such thing as a spoiler-free review for this, so see the movie. And after you see the movie, be sure to check out the Ginger Geek Podcast at www.gingergeekblogs.com, as well as the Cape Swoosh Podcast,
which is at capeswooshproductions.com or Facebook at Cape Swoosh.
You can find all of these things on various podcasting apps, I guess. Bye.
That's the word. Even shorter. 44 seconds.
Fuck yes! You want under 2 minutes? I'll give you under a minute, bitch!
Talking Nerd! Thanks again to David Malofsky for putting this all together. And, of course, to all the podcasts, the Deleted Scene podcast, Electric Shadows podcast, Mighty Marvel Mix podcast, and Podcapers and Cape Swoosh Productions for being part of this collaborative effort and playing everyone's review on everybody else's show. It's a great idea. Check out all these podcasts. Support the independent podcaster. You can find links to their shows at show notes for this episode, jockandnerd.com/infinite Modern Family. It's right in your app there. If you tap or swipe the cover art, make sure you support independent podcasts. It's very important. And, you know, I think this is a great opportunity to share this with friends and family who maybe haven't seen Avengers Endgame and are looking for some spoiler-free thoughts to just push them over the edge. However, the amount of money this thing's making, I can't imagine anybody hasn't seen this multiple times, but there are still some out there. Turn them onto the show. Share with a friend. Thanks for listening. We'll peep you next time. Talking Nerd.